Ooh. Hello everyone, my name is Koren Wiskman and I'm here to show you the new Simon Says Stamp March release. Lucky to know you. There is a ton of stuff in this release, so that is fantastic, but it also makes for a really long video, so I suggest you buckle in, and we're gonna go through this stuff pretty fast. I played with some stuff already. Don't worry, I took some pre-product shots so that you could get a nice clean view of everything before I messed it all up. I love that Simon, one, that they give you these envelopes to store your dies in. I do not transfer my Simon dies out of these envelopes. I just don't. I think they're fantastic. They give you a nice view of what the die looks like when it's been cut out, and it really just does everything that it needs to, and it fits in with all my other storage. Let's just dive in. But these are the inlaid crosses. These are by Kathy Zilski, and it's just that. It is a group, it's 2 crosses, and they have some inlaid geometric designs so that you can cut out different shapes or use pattern papers, or you can use different colors, or you could inlay it into an already pre-stamped design. It just opens up a world of possibilities for these crosses. This is the He Is Risen, and that is also by CZ Designs, and I made this card and I've inlaid it into another stamp set that I'm going to show you in this release, but I wanted to show you what it kind of looks like. This is the He Is Risen die. She also has a stamp set for us. This one is called Clean Line Faith, and it's basically for Easter. It has sentiments like faith over fear. I love that. He is risen indeed. Happy Easter. It also has some plain stamped crosses and coordinating dies. I love it when the coordinating dies cut out the sentiments. That makes things so wonderful. I absolutely love that, and this stamp set does that for you. Oh, we have the Happy Birthday also, which is not Easter, but always something good to have. It's a Happy Birthday. It's also by Kathy Zilski, and it too has the shadow in the background, and then the Happy Birthday is all one cutout. So that makes it super easy. Oh, I love that. And don't forget about your eye. Sometimes I lose the tops of my eyes, the tittles. Don't lose your tittles. There's also some really awesome pre-stamped sentiments that you can just cut out. There are tons of happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy Easter, such a happy occasion. All of these can just be trimmed with your paper trimmer and made and put right on your card, and I love black and white sentiments. There's also the watercolor. Every release has some watercolor designs, and these are pre-printed onto watercolor paper. And we have some Happy Easter with like an Easter wreath, and there's like a baby chick with an umbrella, and just a ton of Easter themed. Oh, look at that with a fence! The birds that sing to let you know it's almost spring. Ah, please spring, come, please. There's also some pre-printed sentiments, like large sentiments that you can just stick on your card. Now, I did play with these. I made this one, the Lucky to Know You one. Use your heat transfer foil in your Mink machine or your laminator, whatever you choose to use. And these are pre-printed with toner ink. And then you just basically run them through your machine and you have a beautiful card. This is like a mint color that I used for the Lucky to Know You. And you could add some little shamrocks in the corners or on the sides, or a little bit of flowers. And your card is done, honey. Done. The release also has some new gnomes. This one is spring gnomes, but really, like this one here with the little birdie, that could easily be used for Christmas if you use your imagination. But that has greetings like spring greetings, friends for all seasons, happy Easter, and my favorite, I'm all ears. And there are coordinating dies for this one. And I did make a card. This one says, I'm all ears, and I paper pieced a little bit of patterned paper and Copic colored my little gnome there. He looks fantastic. I also used that little heart die to cut out a little heart for him on his lapel there. There's also a she gnome in this release, and you basically cut out all the parts and pieces to make your own little gnome, girl gnome. With some braids on the sides, and you can also cut out a little piece of cardstock to add as your little hair ties, or you could use twine and make your own little bows on the hair ties. I would like to do that too. With those, there is a new stencil, and this one is called Mushroom House, and basically you could stencil your own magical little mushroom house. You have the mushroom and a little stone door. You could have a little Christmas tree. It is fantastic and coordinates really great with the gnomes, with the gnome stamp set. There are also some standalone dies, like this daffodil stem. It basically cuts out a lined image of a daffodil. You could cut out some paper to stick behind it, or you could just use them alone on a card. There is also a crocus flowers that is the exact same thing but with a crocus flower, and it comes with two little lined flowers, one that seems to be a little bit more closed than the other, and you can use those in a similar fashion. This one is the Botanical Heart die set, and it basically coordinates with the Botanical Heart stamp set that's already released, but it comes with several, 3 little hearts, beautiful heart dies and some circles, as well as this love you sentiment that you can use on its own. This stamp set is called the Just Because Word Mix, and it coordinates with the Word Mix 2 die already released. And these are fun because there's 2 stamps in here, okay? This huge 6x8 stamp set has 2 large stamps, and the dies coordinate with it so that you can cut out all of these sentiments that you can use on your scrapbook pages or your cards really easily. And it has this lucky to know you in the corner here. Woo woo. The next stamp set is called Hello Easter, and it has a little bunny, a little chick, and a little lamb, as well as several Easter eggs that you can color any way you would like. It also has a daffodil. I'm learning things. It has a coordinating die set as well. This is called the Stitching Panel, and it's basically 9 million holes for you to cut out of your paper, and it is, I think it's slightly bigger than an A2 size card front, and this basically gives you creative freedom to create any kind of stitched background you would like on your card. The only problem that I ever have with these is getting out all of the holes. But I guess if you're stitching it, you can kind of poke the hole out with your needle as you are stitching. I have tried taking purple tape and kind of running that through to get all of the holes out. Sometimes that works, and I know that Spellbinders also has like a little tool that you can use to brush over your paper to try to poke those holes out as well. Nothing has really worked as well as literally going through and just poking out all of those extra little bits, but some people may find that very relaxing. I find stitching extremely relaxing, so I'm glad that I have this now in my collection. I just dropped a lot of stuff. This is called FABERGE Egg, and it basically comes with 2 dies. It has the one that says Happy Easter with a little bit of decorative design on the top and the bottom, as well as a second egg that is slightly larger and has a stitched border around it. This makes it really easy to make shaker cards. A few more things. Almost done. Hold on to your horses. This stamp set is called Bunny Butt Peekaboo, okay? And maybe I'm out of the loop, but I don't know what the peekaboo is. I'm gonna need to look that up and maybe watch some Simon videos on how to do the peekaboo. Has a bunny that's poking up and his butt, and I want to play with his butt today. Yep, it's gonna be a bunny butt today. And it comes with coordinating dies, and somehow this has like a little tab on the side, so I'm sure that has a lot to do with the peekaboo portion. I'm intrigued. You could also make a little tiny shaped bunny out of that. A little bunny card. So, I mean, I don't know what the peekaboo portion is. Like, I don't know how to do a peekaboo yet, but this little extension here of the card would make it really easy to do a bunny head or butt shaped little tag or Easter card. So I'm excited to play with this and figure it out. The stamp set comes with awesome stamp sets that have these thick black borders around it. Those are fun. And some Easter eggs that you can color. I think that's going to be fun to play with. Something that I've already played with. This is the layered tulips, and honestly, this is my very first layered stamp set. I know, I'm late to the party. What can I say? But I had a really good time playing with this. It has four different stamps here to make a layered design, and this is what I used on the He Is Risen card that I made. 4 different ink colors, 2 greens and 2 purples to create the design. And it's really easy when you use your Misty to line everything up. This Leaves stencil has 4 3x3 stencils, and it has basically 4 different leaf images that you can stencil onto your card projects. The next one is called the Layered Tulips, and this is 4x4 stencil, and it has, oop, I lost one. There's one still in there, come back! Okay, so this is basically a very similar thing to the stamp set, but in a stencil form. So instead of stamping your image, you're gonna layer these stencils to create your tulips. And you can ink blend or use your mixed media mediums. Texture pastes and things like that. You can also use paint, whatever you like to use with your stencils. And here, this last stencil is a 6x6 stencil called Daisy Bouquet, and it's exactly that. It's a bouquet of daisies that are kind of in the corner, and I really am attracted to this stencil, so I think I'm gonna try to use this on today's project. There's also not 1 but 2 sequin mixes. One is called Poppy Bloom, and it's kind of a coral and pale yellow and some pinks that are all mixed in there, and these are flat sequins with no holes. Flowering Clover, which I love this one. This one has a bunch of greens, some pinks, and it's very spring inspiring. I think there's some clear ones in there as well. And these do have, there's a mix of some traditional sequins and some flat sequins as well. Now that is the entire Simon Says Stamp March release, and I'm gonna play with some things and let's see what we make. So I absolutely had to play with this peekaboo die and see what it was all about. So I clipped the dies apart so that I could play around. So the part of the die that I was calling a tab is basically the score line, okay? So it doesn't cut it out completely. It just cuts out the image and then leaves that little part to make it a peekaboo. So at this point I had an idea, so I took some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink and a piece of Nina 110-pound cardstock cut to 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I stamped my bunny butt towards the center, leaving a little bit of room at the bottom for a sentiment. So I ran that through my die cutting machine, and then once that was cut out, I could put it back into my Misty and align the face to basically be stamped in the same position on a 3.5 by 4 3/4 piece of cardstock. My idea is to make a bunny door that you can open on the card front to reveal a sentiment on the inside. Not the inside of the card, but the inside of the element itself. I will show you how exactly I cut out the bunny face in just a second. For now, I'm going to color this bunny butt. If you do not enjoy watching people color, please feel free to skip ahead. This is not very riveting coloring, so I did speed it up. I'm just using C3, C1, C0, and the 0 marker to make this bunny butt a little bit more interesting to look at. I colored my bunny butt the same as I colored the bunny face. I just took my 4 markers, starting with the darkest marker in the darkest areas of the bunny. When I do his butt, you can see that I leave a little bit of white around the rim of the tail end, so that it creates a little bit more dimension when you do that, when you have something that's round. It won't stay white. I will eventually go over it with my lighter colors, but you can see for a little while that it stays white. And then I just go back through the markers, all 3, C3, C1, C0, and try to create a round bunny booty. I do have something a little extra planned for the tail, so stay tuned. But I grabbed my Cricut Bright Pad. This I hardly ever use, so I'm happy that I have a reason to use it today. But this is going to help me align a die through the cardstock. I'm going to turn my image over. There you can kind of see through it. It's hard with all the lights from the studio. But I'm going to arrange the die so that it cuts out this face in the same way as the butt. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to take the 2 pieces of paper that I cut, the butt and the face, and put them together so that when you open it with the butt, but then you see the face on the other side. To make the tail a little bit more interesting, I'm taking some Simon Says Stamp Tacky Liquid Glue and Fun Flock, white Fun Flock, and I'm coating the tail in a ton of glue and Fun Flock. And this is going to take a while to dry. So I grabbed another piece of Nina and cut it down to 3.5 by 4 3/4 like the other pieces, and aligned it in the MISTI so that I could stamp the happy spring sentiment to be revealed when you move the bunny out of the way. To make the inside sentiment a little bit more interesting, I'm going to grab a cloud stencil, because when I think of spring, I do think of clouds and the beginning of sunshine. So I just grabbed any cloud stencil will do, and my favorite cloud inking ink, this one's Aspen Mist by VersaFine Magic. It's a chalk ink. And my Ranger blender tool, and just blended some clouds all on the background, but really you only need to do it where the bunny is revealing the clouds behind it. I just love these pre-made sentiment strips, so I'm going to cut one of the sentiments out. These are printed with toner ink, so you can use these in your ink machine or your laminator to foil them as well. I particularly like the black and white sentiment, so that's what I'm using today. The tail is still not dry, so I really talked myself into putting it down and walking away for a few minutes. After some lunch, I started to put my card together, starting with that cloud panel. I just put some Tear Tape adhesive on the back and adhered it to a Simon Says Stamp Fog card base. I used some liquid adhesive to adhere both of those bunny panels together to make one door. I wanted to pop up the bunny panel and give it some space between it and the cloud panel, so I used Scotch 3M foam tape to do that. There are numerous ways that you can use this die, but I really like how this turned out. I used the same Scotch 3M foam tape behind my pre-made sentiment and scored it with my Teflon bone folder, and I am done. So I don't think this is going to dry in a million years. Maybe, but I love how it turned out. It is so fun that you turn and open the book and you see the bunny's face and the nice sentiment, and I think it's really fun. You could also like do this as a shaker card and have your sequins in there. That would be really cool. I hope that you enjoyed taking a look at Simon Says Stamp's new March release called Lucky to Know You. I'm leaving links in the description box below for more information. Until next time. I hope that I've inspired you to create something today. Find me or Simon Says Stamp on social media. I love interacting with you in the comments.